to start crate training a puppy, you have to make the crate as positive as you possibly can. So that involves not putting the puppy in it against their own free will. So you can drop treats in there so the puppy wants to go in. You can put their toys in there, comfy bed. You can feed them in the crate. Anything that makes the crate a really positive place to be, that's really fun and has interesting things, is the best way to start crate training. You can then start building up the time they're in there by giving them a filled coal or a filled bone and placing that in the crate. And just sitting near the crate and fussing them whenever they go in it is a really good idea as well. But you definitely don't want to just put them in the crate and shut it and walk off or leave the room, because it will create a real negative experience from being in there. So everything has to be positive and built up really, really small steps to begin with. So 10 seconds at a time, that can be enough. So just reward the puppy for being in the crate, have the door closed whilst you're sat next to it, reward them through the top at the back of the crate, and then open the door again whilst they're still happy being in there, and build on slowly, slowly, slowly like that. I would only ever leave a dog in a crate if they were completely comfortable being in it, and for a maximum of 4 hours at a time. And that is if they are 100% happy being in there just to relax and sleep. If they sleep in a crate overnight, it's a bit different because it's bedtime and they're not going to be waiting for you to come in and walk them or go for a wee. So overnight is usually about 8 hours, but again, that has to be built up slowly. If you're doing it with a puppy or a dog who's new to crates, then you need to come down in the middle of the night to let them out for a wee as well, and to give them a bit of break time from the crate at about 3 in the morning. That works well. Each dog should be able to stand up, turn around and lay outstretched fully in any crate that they're in, so that when you start off with a puppy, the crate is smaller than it would be as they grow. When they get to full adult size, they need to be able to stand up and stretch and move around in the crate. They shouldn't be cramped and they shouldn't have to lower their heads or lay down in order to be in the crate. I recommend putting the crate in a quiet spot, somewhere where it's not too busy, but they're not completely out of the way as well. So sometimes under a worktop in the kitchen can be nice, in a study somewhere. If you're building up slowly with puppies or new dogs, then overnight I often recommend having the crate next to the bed and then gradually moving it away. Obviously depending on the size of your bedroom and the size of the crate and how much space you've got. But yeah, the crate should ideally be somewhere that's quiet, where they're not going to get disturbed too often or get upset that you're too far away either. Yes, I do think covering a crate can be beneficial to some dogs. It creates a sense of darkness and a den and sleep time, so they're more likely to relax if they know that each time it gets covered that they're going to rest now and that you're either going out or you're going to do something. So it can symbolise relaxing time, being covered over. But for some dogs it's distressing for them if they can't see out, and they can get more stressed. So it very much depends on the puppy or the dog. But if you're starting out with a puppy, then I do recommend at night time, or if you're going out or something, to cover the crate. I think it's more comfortable for them. That very much depends on the rescue dog itself. If they've ever had any negative experiences with a crate. Some have been shut in crates for hours, some have been put in a crate when they've been naughty or bad or done something they shouldn't have done. And also for some dogs it reminds them of the kennels, which may or may not have been a positive experience depending on the dog. For most dogs they're not that positive because they're on their own. So for all rescue dogs, if they have an unknown history, then I definitely would recommend building up really slowly if you are going to crate train, and just sitting next to the crate, having the crate in the family area to begin with. So if you're sat watching TV, you're sat on the floor next to the crate and the dog's got a chew, their toys, a comfortable bed in this crate. So it's a really positive place to be where they can freely come and go. But for some dogs, they only have to look at a crate and they're too traumatised to even attempt going in it. So unless you needed a dog to be crated, I would probably go against the crate training, or certainly for a couple of years, if they are a dog who's been traumatised by one, until they trust you and trust that your training is positive and that it's going to be enjoyable. But yeah, I think all dogs can be crate trained. It just depends on the dog and the experiences beforehand. No, I would never recommend using a crate as punishment for a dog. The crate should be a comfortable place where they are safe and they're happy to be, and they see it as a really positive place to be. You should never punish a dog by putting them somewhere where you need them to be. And punishing a dog anyway is not the route that we go down at Haines Hounds. You definitely don't punish behaviour. You can kick yourself if you like for doing something wrong, but the dog, it's not their fault. And definitely do not use your crate as punishment at any time for puppies or dogs, regardless of what's happened. You can by all means use crate as a timeout, as a comfortable place for the dog to be, to lay down with a chew, to actually relax if they're being a bit too much, but in a positive manner they should be asked to go in the crate, and certainly never dragged to a crate or forced into it and used as a punishment, no.